When you think about it, the Audi TT has been a bit of an icon from the last 20 years or so. When it was revealed in 1998, that bubble shape really shook up design and showed what you could do with the VW Golf chassis. These days, the TT is sadly on its last legs and it looks like Audi is about to scrap it from its range. But the quickest TT Audi has ever made is the current TT RS, with its 2.5 litre inline-5 creating 395 brake horsepower. That means it gets from 0 to 60 in 3.7 seconds and has a top speed of 174 miles an hour. But hop back to the mid-noughties and there was a company that would make you a TT that was faster than a McLaren F1. This is the MTM TT BiMoto, and the secret to this car's speed can be found in its name. MTM decided that the normal ways of increasing power, like a bigger turbo or a supercharger, simply weren't adventurous enough. The solution? Have two engines, one in the front and another one thrown in the back. The MTM TT BiMoto had a 1.8 litre 4-cylinder turbo engine in the front and another identical engine where you'd normally find the back seats. Yup, that's right, a twin-engine TT with each engine having its own dual-clutch transmission. The engines created 370 brake horsepower each, making for a 740 brake horsepower all-wheel drive nightmare of a vehicle that was tested at 244 miles an hour back in 2007. The price for all that speed? £524,000, although we can't be sure whether anyone actually bought one. Depending on what gear ratios you used, a BiMoto would get to 60 in around 3.5 seconds, making it quicker than most early R8s. And actually, an R8 from factory has never got anywhere near 244 miles an hour, so a BiMoto, given the space, would smoke even a current V10 performance. Now, this isn't the only car that's used a twin-engine layout. AMG once put a second engine into an A-Class. There was a fairly lethal Mini Cooper 20 back in the 1960s. There was a Citroën 2CV 4x4 Sahara, and then of course James May's creation, the Alphab. The prize for the most effective use of two engines in one car, however, can be given to the Suzuki Escudo Pikes Peak from 1994. It used two heavily turbocharged 1.6 litre engines that created 450 brake horsepower each, but the kicker is the car only weighed 900 kilograms. 900 horsepower and 900 kilograms means you have 1 horsepower for every 1 kilogram of mass, just like the Koenigsegg 1:1, and that means it's quick. The car came second at Pikes Peak in '94, but won outright in '95, showing what happens when you get your twin-engined engineering correct. It's not just a simple case of throwing a second engine in there, however. Trying to get a car to behave with two engines in it must take forever, considering you've got one throttle pedal controlling two engines. The calibration between the two engines will have to be spot on. The tune will need to be perfect between both of them. The butterfly valves will have to open at exactly the same time, and the gear linkages will need to be connected so that one gear stick movement means both gearboxes are changing gear. Then there's the small matter of keeping both power plants cool. Fair enough, keep the front cooling system for the front engine, but for the rear engine you're probably going to have to slap a couple of side pods on the car and put a radiator in each of them to keep that rear engine cool. But once you've figured out all that stuff, you can viably create something like the BiMoto or the Escudo, but be prepared for your fuel bill to double and for your car to gain some serious weight. If you haven't noticed, we've got some new t-shirt designs in the Drive Tribe store. If you fancy one of these, there's a link in the description below. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to Drive Tribe.